First of all, just a reminder, there will be a second collection today. It's Blanket Sunday, so there's some envelopes in the pews, I believe, if you'd like to use them, and just whatever you can give so that the St. Vincent de Paul Society of the Diocese can provide blankets for those in need this coming winter. The vineyard of the Lord is the house of Israel, we sang in the responsorial psalm. The prophet is showing an image of a vineyard that God planted, and the people of the house of Israel and of Judah are the valued plants in the vineyard. But he says in there, he looks for his produce and he finds wild, sour grapes. And he says, what more could I have done? What more could I have done that I haven't done to produce good fruit? And there's a question. Isn't that a question that sometimes we've asked, or sometimes parents have asked, for example, when they raise their children to be practicing Catholics, but they somehow have drifted away from the faith or practice of it? And the question will be, what could I have done? What didn't I do? I did everything I knew. Then what happened? God is looking at his whole creation in these parables of the vineyard and seeing it as all of us. Each and every one of us is a cherished vine in that vineyard. And sometimes he looks upon the world, I'm sure, as we all know, he looks upon it and says, what could I have done? I sent my son, and they killed him and nailed him to the cross. But even there, I rose from the dead and promised eternal life. What more could I have done? And we need to think about that. In our own individual lives, the gospel's not just about the whole community, it's about us as individuals. The Lord wants us to be holy. He wants us to be like him. He calls us to holiness. Whatever is good, whatever is honest, whatever is pure, honorable, and beautiful and lovely, these things think about, Paul tells us in the second reading. And those are the things we need to think about. You and I are here this morning in the church because we realize that we're a part of the vineyard. We realize that we need the body and blood of Christ to strengthen us and sustain us. And on this journey we're on to eternal life. So it's just a reminder that the parables are symbols to teach us a lesson. We look around the world and we see how much we are in need of holiness. There's been so many things have distressed us lately, haven't they? Other than the Cleveland Indians, they're doing pretty good. But there's so many other things in the world that have distressed us. The hurricanes, and there's another one, Hurricane Nate, that's now threatening the country. And it's troublesome. The terrible shooting in Las Vegas is troublesome. And you see, when God looks upon all this, he says, what more could I have done? Why does this happen? And we know that we live in a world that's mixed with good and evil. And what I like to see is, even in the midst of tragedies, I like to look for what could be good here. And when you see all the hundreds and thousands of people that are giving to help the people devastated by the hurricanes, God's looking at that and saying, this is the fruit I want to produce. Christians helping one another. And when we look at even the massacre in Las Vegas, so senseless. But when you see that so many men who were hovered over their wives or their friend to prevent them from getting shot, and then themselves were shot, an act of martyrdom, really. And I was reading in the paper the other day about the emergency medical teams in Las Vegas and the police department. And they said that for a long time that there would have been probably many more deaths had they not taken some action some time ago. Whereas when tragedies like this would happen and many people were hurt physically, the emergency medical team could not get to them because they were in danger of being shot or killed. And sometimes they would just wait back until the police settled everything down, and then they would come in and rescue people. In the meantime, many people died because they didn't have immediate help. So they got together, the police and the fire departments got together and said, what could we do about this? It was beautiful to read it in the paper that they came up with a plan that the police would surround the emergency medical technicians. They would wear their vests and their helmets and all those things. They would surround them and go right into the center of the trouble and keep them from getting harmed so that they could save people. And they said they did that in Las Vegas, and they were able to save many people who would have died if they had not had immediate attention from the medical people. And I thought that's God looking at that and saying, be proactive, you know, be proactive, prepare for things and do it together. As a community of people, we can do it together. And so if I apply that to our own Christian life, as a community of the church, we need to come together and say, what can we do in our own community and with our families? And maybe that's a challenge for this coming new liturgical year about to start in about a month. The Lord calls us to bear fruit in our lives and in our communities, and we do that by all the good that we accomplish. And the Lord needs to look upon us and say how pleased he is because we are faithful in producing the fruit of living like Jesus in our own personal lives. It's all possible with the help of God.